Hello, my name is David Nachman. I'm one of the managing attorneys at the Nachman Fawani Zimochek Law Group. We have offices located here in Ridgewood, New Jersey. We also have an office in Midtown Manhattan, and we have an affiliated office in Mumbai, India, and another affiliated office in Canada. One of the questions which we frequently get has to do with the H-1B non-immigrant visa. And because the H-1B is very seasonal, people want to know the timing, and I would say I probably get 1 or 2 emails a day from individuals who are interested in applying for an H-1B but don't fully understand the timing in order to get one. So what I was hoping to do today is to provide you with some general information about the timing or the seasonality of the H-1B non-immigrant visa. So we've also done another video on the H-1B, which you should definitely take a look at. But for today, what we want to talk about is, again, the seasonality and the timing. What's important for you to know is that currently under the law, and the law may change, they are currently talking about potential changes under the Comprehensive Immigration Reform Act, which is CIR, S-744, they're talking about increasing the number of H-1Bs. But for the time being, until they figure out what those changes are going to be to the immigration law, there are 65,000 H-1B non-immigrant visas available on a fiscal year basis for individuals who have the equivalent of a U.S. baccalaureate degree. However, there are also an additional 20,000 available for individuals who have U.S. master's degrees. So those are the numbers that are available. So essentially there are a total of 85,000 H-1B visas available. Some of those visas are allocated to the Chile-Singapore Free Trade Agreement, and they're allocated then to nationals of Chile and Singapore, and those are not cap subject cases. So what you need to know is that those applications can be made outside of the H-1B cap season. Now, H-1Bs are submitted on April 1st, and then what you do is you ask for the earliest possible start date, which would be the October 1st start date, which is what you would do that 6 months in advance. And the reason why that happens is because the rules for the labor condition application require that, that's the ETA 9035 form, which is the Department of Labor piece of the H-1B visa. So when we submit that, we're asking basically for an H-1B start date that is on October 1st of that fiscal year. Now, the government fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th each year. So again, you're able to apply on April 1st because that's 6 months prior to the beginning of the government's fiscal year, which is on October 1st. Now, this year it just happened to have been that we submitted H-1B visas, and because I believe it was approximately 140,000 H-1Bs that were submitted for the 85,000 cap, the other ones were actually they were all placed into a lottery, and they were chosen within 3 days of April 1st. So within 3 days of April 1st, the government took all of those visas that were submitted and ran a lottery and decided which H-1Bs were going to be chosen and sent the rest back to the individuals or the corporations or the law firms that had submitted those H-1Bs. Now, outside of the H-1B cap quota, there are certain exemptions that what we do as lawyers will look at as a possibility. If an individual comes to us and they're looking to do an H-1B, then we'll say, well, there are certain cap-exempt organizations. So what are those organizations that are cap-exempt? Well, the first one that you need to know about is that if you're doing an extension of your H-1B, and this is a big question we get all the time, if you're doing an extension of your H-1B, you don't have to worry about the H-1B cap. You can do that extension anytime. And the reason why is because you have the H-1B. So also, if you had an H-1B within 6 years, within the past 6 years, then you can also do an H-1B. It's not subject to the cap. Another exemption, which is very important for you to know about, has to do with H-1Bs for academic institutions. These are colleges and universities. those are considered to be cap-exempt H-1Bs. So we as our other firms, other petitioners, organizations that are universities and colleges are doing H-1Bs all year round. So those are exempt from the cap. Another exemption from the cap are those organizations that are affiliated with academic institutions of higher education, such as universities and colleges. So if you have an organization that is affiliated with a college or a university, and you can prove that affiliation, and that's really kind of an interesting interpretation, is what is that affiliation? Now, oftentimes the affiliation could be by way of a contract, it could be by way of some type of a MOU, a memorandum of understanding between the various organizations. There are a bunch of ways that you can prove affiliation. But if you're able to prove that affiliation, then you could successfully submit this case outside of the H-1B cap. In other words, that it's a cap-exempt type of case. Two other organizations that are cap-exempt. One is a not-for-profit research organization. That's considered to be cap-exempt. And also a government research organization. That is also cap-exempt. Now, in order to prove whether or not these organizations meet the criteria that are set forth as cap-exempt organizations, there are various sections of the law. So what we generally recommend to our clients or to our prospective clients is to come to us with the organization, come to us with the information about the organization, maybe their website, maybe some information about the organization, so we can do an analysis to determine whether or not you are potentially making a petition with a cap-exempt organization. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me today so that I could explain to you some of the immigration basics related to the H-1B and the potential cap exemptions that might exist. If you have any further questions with regard to the H-1B petition, whether or not you qualify as a professional and specialty occupation worker, or with regard to prevailing wage determinations in the H-1B context, please feel free to contact either me or any of the lawyers in our office, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Thanks very much for tuning in.